Good morning, everybody. How you doing? How you doing, Fernando?
I'm doing good.
You're doing good? Well, I hope you guys are doing wonderful. We're gonna start out today with a Toyota Highlander. He's got a factory navigation screen in there.
Yes.
With the JBL system.
Correct.
He wants to take that out. He wants to go new. He wants CarPlay. We're gonna upgrade him to a 4200 NEX. We're gonna use the RP4.2 TY11 to integrate into it. He also wants us to run an HDMI cable. He's got the Apple Lightning adapter. This is just gonna take some simple winglets for the radio. Let's go inside and let's take a look and see what we got.
This video is brought to you by The Boring Life of Dean and Haley, now showing on YouTube.
Alright, so correction, it's not navigation, it's just a screen. As you can see here, it's just anytime you see these rounded corners like this, that just means it needs those little winglets that go on there. He has a factory USB aux cable here. We'll see if we can retain that. It does have a backup camera, so we're gonna retain that. Cool. So right now the task at hand is to get the radio out of the dash. Once we do that, we'll see what harnesses we need. We'll go ahead and open the RP4 TY11, get it all out of the box while he's taking the radio out, so that we can then plug it in and cross off the ones we don't want, figure out how the back, geez, you know, it's a long list. We're gonna get started on it. Ooh, look at that.
What?
The windshield's cracked.
I need a radio first.
Well, yeah, you need a radio first, duh. Insurance will cover that. Let's get going. Let's get moving. Let's get this day rocking and rolling. Why is the camera shaking like that? Oh, I know, because I didn't get any sleep last night. Here we go.
I'm gonna start like taking this.
So we went ahead and got everything out of the box. Inside of it, you're gonna find a couple harnesses for the unit itself and the unit and an instruction manual. Anytime you're doing a Pac harness that has steering wheel controls, deal with the module first. And by that, I mean it's either gonna have a rotating knob or some dip switches. You wanna take care of that before you do anything else, so you don't forget. In this particular unit, we're gonna go ahead and turn to page 2. We have a Pioneer. So this is telling us we need to flick the dip switches 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and turn those on. Now we'll go ahead and put a piece of tape over the dip switches. For one, it's going to tell us that they're done, and two, we don't have to worry about anything hitting them as we go forward. That's the most important thing anytime you're doing any Pac module with steering wheel controls, is set the steering wheel control as far as what type of radio you're using first. All right, so let's take a look at the harnesses now. This is going to be the harness that connects to the radio. We'll just go ahead and plug that in here for right now. It's gonna be a little bit before we actually need this. What we have is this monster of an octopus here. What they've done is they've basically taken every Toyota harness that these cars could possibly need and combined them into this harness. I'm not a fan, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of this. I don't have to go look for other harnesses, so in that regards, it's not a terrible thing. Now on the back of the factory radio, which is right here, we can match up the harnesses that we're going to need. So for example, this guy here looks like this one. This one definitely is not going to go in. These guys, which is the 1761 harness, are not going to go in. And then there's this big guy right here. Alright, so it looks like we're going to need these two harnesses and not these. Now you can also just take this into the car and plug it in. So we want this one here, and we want this one here. Now there's a third one here, and that's the backup camera. If you flip over and turn to the last page, it's going to talk about retaining your backup camera. Pac makes two different harnesses depending on what style backup camera plug there is. They have a cam TY12 and a cam TY11, and that's this little harness here, and it's showing you the difference between the two, figure 1, figure 2, and then figure 3 has to do with powering the camera up. Because this is a 6-volt system, there's going to be a wire you have to plug into your harness here in order to get a 6-volt output. So this will supply you with 6 volts to power the camera. Our plug looks like figure 1, which is the TY11. We'll go ahead and pull that out of the bag just to see what it looks like, and we can plug it in and sure enough, it's it. The TY11 and the TY12 do multiple things. If they didn't have a factory backup camera, we could actually just add this into this radio and add in an aftermarket camera. In this case, we're not doing that, we're actually adding a radio, so we want this harness only. We're not gonna need any of this. So we're actually gonna remove all that. As time progresses, we'll get to that part. And the dash, as we said, there is the USB aux connector, which is right here. For that, it's gonna be down here on the radio. We're gonna need the USB TY1. They make a TY1 and a TY2, so depending, you might get lucky enough that one of these will plug in. And as we can, if we compare the two next to one another, they look identical. And of course, you can just take this over in the car, plug it in, and you're golden. For the auxiliary, that's built into this harness here. That's this guy right here. So as we start to whittle away the wires we don't need here, we'll get to that. We'll go into the car, we'll plug it in and make sure that this actually works. Don't assume just because a harness has these wires, like an auxiliary like this, that they're actually connected to the auxiliary. Sometimes they're not. All right, the last piece of the puzzle is this guy right here. It's a BAA44, and this is an antenna adapter. So if we come over here and compare it to that antenna, now this has a blue amplified antenna turn on. You always want to plug these in and check to make sure it has it. Hey Fernando, could you check to make sure this has the turn on? So the turn on wire is in the car, so we're gonna make sure we hook this up. So these are all the harnesses we have to deal with and play with. So what we wanna do now is eliminate as much of this that we don't need to put in the car as possible. Let's get started. All right, let's see what we have here for wiring. All right, now we want to do a little bit of testing. We're gonna go ahead and plug our USB aux connector in here. Plug in our aux tester, and now we're going to see if our aux cable is actually connected. We're gonna use our digital multimeter set to continuity. All right, that's a good sign. We'll go ahead and check all three just to be on the safe side. So good thing we have continuity. We know that this aux jack is going to work. Now what we want to do is make sure that this is definitely an analog reverse trigger. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my probe here, and we're gonna switch it over back to DC, which is the line with the dashes beneath it. So it is indeed an analog reverse trigger. So we don't have to worry about that. So that was really the only things we had to test. Let's get back over to the bench. So our harness is complete. Pretty sexy there. And once you go ahead and plug it in, I'm gonna go head back over to work on the dash kit. So we have our radio mounted in the kit. Let's go ahead and plug it in and make sure it opens and closes and does all the cool things that it needs to do. Go ahead and turn it on. Yep. Yay. Anytime you're doing a 4200, always make sure it opens and closes. The little latch for the detachable face often catches on the kits. You know, nothing sucks worse than getting it all plugged in and then finding out that it's catching and you have to pull it all back out. Let's keep going. Set it in here. This screen come out of the top.
Oh, that's so nice.
All right, let's go. Now we'll go ahead and finish. We'll do a bunch of testing. I'm gonna go grab the USB, grab the phone.
What do you want?
Go ahead and turn us on.
Ooh.
What's the weather like today?
It's currently cloudy.
Perfect.
All right, reverse camera works. Yes. All right, that works. So up and down, track up, down, try mode. Yeah, let's go back to here. Here's volume, track. Back down, working.
Perfect. That's it.
So let me try USB 2. Oh, grab the HDMI adapter. Let's try that. Now, because we're using the AV input instead of the aux input, we're gonna go ahead and shut off aux, and we're gonna turn on AV as source. Now we'll come in here and we will switch to iPod 2. Okay, iPod 2 is working. Go ahead and test out the HDMI. Hey, look at that. So the HDMI is working.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do now is we're going to go ahead and get the rest of this dash put back together, get the radio screwed in. We'll do one final test before we're finished. And if we're good, we'll get this thing out of here. Cable works. This Toyota is done. We're doing a quick software update on this 4200. So we're gonna go ahead and get that done, pull this thing out of here. Fernando will give him a cool demo.
Okay.
And then we will start on the next one. Because there's always more, right?
Always more.
Always more.
Yeah.
So,
You like more?
on to the next one.